A bone
Yeah,
broth I've not heard of before. Is recommended by who? Is that one of your products?
recommended. Yeah, it's the bones of our competitors. No, it is something that in the natural health community is very well known. It's been known for thousands of years probably that
Hmm.
basically simmering chicken bones or beef bones or whatever in a pot for a long period of time, like 12 hours or so, it pulls all these nutrients, a lot of collagen, protein, and other things, and it can actually help heal your gut and boost your immunity and help rebuild joints. So very powerful. It's one of the reasons why chicken soup is so popular you know, for colds.
Interesting. No, I have not heard that.
Mm.
Well, as marketers, I'm always curious to hear the backstory on things, and there may be a product in there somewhere. Who knows?
There you go. Cool.
Buck's bone broth stew.
It's my wife, Diva. Yeah, but she's becoming a holistic nutritionist, so that's kind of cool.
Well, we have
Uh,
we have an interesting brand on our end from one of our new students, Bo's Ball Sack Cream, which I may have mentioned, but it's goes back to the Civil War where they would carry their musket balls around in a sack, and the sack would be leather most times, and if it would start to crack, then you'd need a good way to keep that from. Anyway, so it's an interesting brand name, and now it's more of a lip balm, but
I've got to lube my ball sack. It's getting a little dry.
yeah, or I always get a laugh when I've got to put some on my lips because my lips are dry. But I don't know. We'll see. It's got some brand staying power, I think. But hey, thanks for joining us. I kind of hit record there. I think getting to know you is always a good part of the process. And of course, I've known you for, geez, what has it been? Not quite 10 years.
10 years in December, I think.
Is that right?
I
Well.
believe so. Yeah.
So it's been a while, and you've certainly had a lot of success, and mostly in supplements, I think. Right? Is that you guys started out with? What was that product you had? And it was what was that? Blogs or something like that? Or I know that's not right.
Well, I started out in the digestive health market.
Okay, well, there was a
Yeah.
product though you and the other guy did that was hot for a while, and I can't.
We had the it was a fat burning, it was a weight loss supplement.
What's in it?
The
No, it was
feel good fat burner
okay.
was one of the products. Yep.
I was thinking the co-registration product. Is that was
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So I had a little dabble in the traffic market. So I had a partner that had a very solid process for generating leads, taking advantage of co-registration leads, and converting those through a follow-up sequence, promoting either your own product or other people's products, and that did very well. It was a very powerful system. I think in many respects it's still relevant. The teaching of that course is still relevant today. And it was something I'm not a professional internet marketing guru. That was sort of his process, and I kind of leveraged some of my contacts, and we launched it together, and did very well with it.
Yeah. Well, and folks, when you're online as long as we've been, we forget sometimes about all the things we've done over the years. But
Yeah.
that was kind of the first thing that I knew you from, although you were doing supplements. And yeah, that's another side conversation too, by the way, on the co-reg. I was going to ask you if any of that still works because I have an interesting new software program that arbitrages Facebook ads with
Yeah.
co-reg, but appending the data in real time and maybe of interest to you. I don't know. Happy to.
The biggest problem with co-registration, as with anything in email, is being able to deliver your email to people, and that was a problem as other people started coming in back then. It's still a problem today. As email delivery is it's a tough place. It's a tough nut to crack. When you do, then you definitely want to protect what you have.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, that's a conversation for later. I wanted
Yeah.
to have you on. I know you're a busy guy. You've got a big event coming up, which maybe we'll talk about. But your main business is in the supplements, and we've got
Yes.
students that are interested in that, and they're more partners of ours, actually. And one of the companies, or I guess your primary company, again, is, would you like to share the name? And
Yeah, sure. It's a Real Dose Nutrition.
yeah.
It really is. I would call it, version two of my foray in the dietary supplement space, which is my love and my passion. I've been doing it for the last 10 years. Actually, you and I met at a Gary Halbert seminar that was held in Florida, and I remember that very distinctly. And,
Yeah.
and Gary was a client I was a client of Gary's, excuse me, and Gary wrote the sales letter for my first product, and then he invited me down as one of his case studies to that seminar where I met you.
Yeah, I remember it
um,
as well. So it's
yeah.
definitely been a while, and of course Gary's not with us anymore, but
Oh,
great copywriter, and it was a great event. So from there, though, you guys really sort of launched from that, I think, and that was that a
yeah,
pivot point for you? Because you
kind of.
went and did you take any special like coaching from him, or was that sort of just the event that turned it around and you implemented from what you learned there?
I've taken coaching, and I continue to take coaching from a number of folks, and Gary was one of them. And I went down, subsequent to that, and spent some time with him on a couple of occasions. So I have a lot to thank Gary for, and a lot of introductions to thank Gary for. A few years later, you're right, we did pivot a little bit with. I had met a friend along the way. Who also ran another very successful health-related business, in this case, selling audio programs, and we partnered up, and then found our third partner when we were attending a conference of another friend of mine, Michael Fishman, the Consumer Health Summit. I met my third partner, which is Dr. Steven Siskin, and together we decided to launch Real Dose Nutrition. That's been almost 4 years ago now.
And that's realdose.com, correct?
RealDose.com.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
nice.
Yeah, and that's been fantastic. I mean, that my original business is sort of affiliated or part of the Real Dose family, if you will. But we launched Real Dose with a new set of products. We're in the weight management space, in the omega-3 fatty acid space, protein powder. We have a couple other products that we ship and sell predominantly to women online. So probably 80% of our market is women.
Yeah, you mentioned that the other day when we talked, and I thought that was really interesting. And so, is there a reason for that, or I mean, there's a marketing lesson in there, I'm sure.
Yeah. Women really tend to make a large fraction of the online purchasing decisions in the household, and when it comes to health, it's no different. So we made a conscious decision that hey, we could speak to that market. We know that market is savvy and making decisions online. And so that's the direction we decided to go. We also knew that we could reach them. We actually decided to go after a bit older demographics, so 45 and up. When I say older, I'm 50 this year, so I'm right in the smack dab in the middle of
Are
our
you? Wow.
age demographic. Yeah,
I never knew that. Your supplements must be working. You don't
thank
look.
you.
You look younger than me, so I need to get on that regimen that you're on. So great.
Yeah.
Well, I'm on your site now, and it looks great. You've got how many products do you have? And did you start out with a lot of products, or did you start out with one main product and then kind of grow it
Yeah.
from there?
We started out with one, Brett. We decided, in fact, that's what I'd recommend anyone getting into the dietary supplement space do is rather than a full suite, start out with one product, have that be your hero product, launch and optimize that. And then there are ways that you can either offer more of that same product or put people on continuity as sort of a back end offer or an upsell, if you will. And then you can also offer third-party products, partner products, as back end initially while you start to develop your own back end.
Interesting. Well, yeah, and makes sense. You don't want to try to take on too many things as marketers. I think we've all done it, trying to take on too much and gone after everything all at once. And of course, the man who chases two rabbits catches none. One of my favorite core
I love
fortune.
that saying. Yeah.
It's a Confucius fortune cookie that I had saved for many years, and
Right.
so focusing makes a lot of sense. What was your first product that you started out with in the
Real
supplements?
Dose Weight Loss Formula number one was our first product that we launched, and it's a capsule product that helps people regulate sugar, helps decrease cravings and hunger, and a couple of other benefits, including boosting mood and energy, that we think are big issues with people trying to lose weight.
Okay.
And that still continues to be our number one bestseller. We really formulated that, and that's one of the things I teach my students is coming up with, even if you're entering a market that is extremely competitive, which the weight loss market is competitive. There are a lot of competitors out there, but there's a lot of people doing it the wrong way and taking approaches that I think are not only they're putting out low quality products that don't work, but they're using over the top, hyped up marketing campaigns, unsubstantiated health claims, things like that. So I think there's a great way to break above all that noise, with a differentiated formula and even better, marketing copy.
hmm But yeah, I mean that is one of the most competitive niches out there, so you couldn't have picked a more competitive one. And you mentioned though too that your products I think are all FDA. I don't want to say the wrong thing, but you go through a rigorous process to make sure everything is above board. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. I think people misunderstand how dietary supplements work in the United States. We are actually very lucky in that we're protected by the what's called the DSHEA Act that was signed into law back in 1994. It guarantees, at a high level, just guarantees that we as U.S. citizens have access to dietary supplements. Okay, as long as people follow certain rules in terms of how the supplements are manufactured and how they're promoted.
hmm
But by and large, it's not really strictly regulated by the FDA like drugs, like pharmaceutical drugs are. And so the good news is you're not required to go and get your product if you have it formulated by a quality formulator and get it manufactured by a quality contract manufacturer, which is not hard to do. That you're not required to get it approved by the FDA. In fact, the only requirement you have with the FDA is to send them a quick note saying, here's my product and this is what I intend to claim about this product. Here's what it does. Okay, and it's a standard procedure that can be done literally, in an hour, and send that off to the FDA, and then your reporting requirements in terms of launching your product are done. So it's really that simple. Unfortunately, there are a lot of nefarious players that take advantage of that fact and are putting out low quality product. That's what I am absolutely against, and one of the reasons why I launched Health Profits Academy.
Great. Yeah, no, we'll talk about that in a minute. And it's not it's more of a resource. We're not going to be pitching that, of course, but I think our people may want to contend. As I mentioned, I may want to come out too. I'm looking at your
You
products.
mentioned that, yeah.
Yeah, it'd be fun. The health supplement market, it seems fun, and we've got some students with great ideas. And I was just looking at some of your products here. You've got one on menopause. It's interesting. So
Yes.
going after your target market, and I imagine the aging male or the aging baby boomers, aging female baby boomers, maybe even the bigger market. Anything you're targeting for them? Well, I'm not trying to get your secrets. Just
That's
wanted
okay.
to,
I think the markets are big enough. I mean, the
yeah.
market. I believe that dietary supplements are going to double again over the next few years in
Wow.
terms of markets scale. I think we're approaching $40 billion market right now,
Uh-huh.
and it's going to be, like I said, I think the doubling factor is going to happen probably in the next 3 or 4 years. So the market, especially the aging baby boomers, and those are folks born between I think 1945 and 1964, it's getting close to 80 million strong, and they're looking to live longer, retain their memory, have a youthful appearance, have energy. I can tell you, my dad, who's even older than a baby boomer, wants all of those things. He's in his late 70s now, and so think products like joint supplements, memory supplements, heart supplements, anything to do with anti-aging, gut health. There's a variety of markets that baby boomers are investing in with both hands.
Right. Well, that's a huge market. So that's impressive. And of course, you're building a company. A lot of what we talk about to our students is helping them understand the difference between selling a product and building a brand, building a company. And
Yes.
then, you may or may not know, I sold my last business, but I've actually sold 3 online businesses and a bricks and mortar. And it's a great way to pull that equity off the table and maybe put it into your next passion project. And looks to me like you guys have built quite a strong brand here. And do you mind talking about that? What the long-term goal
Yeah.
is with this? Are you going to sell it or keep going with it?
Well, thank you for asking about that. And by the way, congratulations on the fact that you've sold so many businesses. You are way ahead of me as far as that goes. And but it's a very, very smart comment that a lot of people that are launching businesses online, a lot of them are just thinking about the income, right? They're trying to generate an income, maybe to replace a full-time job and just make sure they keep the lights on and maybe fund a vacation and a new car and what have you. Um, and really, I think you can do all of that with a dietary supplement business. But the difference between, say, an info product business, for example, and launching a health brand like this, is that you're actually generating income and also building an asset. and you know that because you've sold companies before. So you have this income that's coming in as you generate profits from your business, which we do, and then there's this valuation that occurs as a result of, it's a multiple typically of what your income is, but also other factors are taken into account, such as how big your list is, how what kind of goodwill you have with your customer base, and other things, the kinds of partners that you have that can add to that multiple, and you could wind up with this potentially big payday down the road. Now we have not sold our supplement company. Our long-term plan right now is to just continue to run and grow the company. But we've had folks knocking on our door, and there is interest in dietary supplement companies that are built the right way, with high quality products that revere their customers, that have a great marketing systems, legitimate marketing systems supporting them. Those are very attractive, to companies, whether it's a larger supplement company or a private equity firm, for example.
Sure. Yeah, no, there is a lot of interest in the internet and companies that are making money online. Most people don't know how to really do it. So there's a lot of money out there, private equity groups, companies that want to acquire revenues and are willing to pay for that. And so not everybody realizes that, but there's a market of hungry buyers out there for companies that are profitable and well run and have good fundamentals and products. And so
I may have to consult with you on
yeah, no,
when that time comes.
absolutely.
You have a
Yeah.
lot of experience there.
There's some things I wish I had done differently in my last sales, and there's not all brokers are the same. So if you guys ever want to get to that point, happy to consult with you on that. But well, a couple things I wanted to kind of change gears a little bit. Well, one point is, I mean, you're working from home, it looks like. I mean, you got the
Oh, you
guitar in the
could tell.
background. Well, the point is, but you're
This is
running an eight-figure business. Is that correct?
Yeah, I live here in lovely Boulder, Colorado. It's actually a beautiful sunny day. I just took my kids to school and went for a walk with my wife, and had a leisurely lunch with my wife. Now I'm here on a call with you. This is my Batcave office. You can see I've got I can record some video. I can do some stuff on the whiteboard. I can think around with my guitar that I don't know how to play.
I
I've
saw
had
that.
that Stratocaster for 20 years,
I
by the
see
way.
that. Yeah.
And I love it. I mean, it's the kind of business where you can run this kind of company from home, and have a completely virtualized business, which we do. So we run an eight-figure business completely virtual, and it's possible to set up and run that.
And of course, you're wearing the corporate suit and tie to work every day. And no, I imagine. I mean, Boulder, what a great place to live, and you probably set your
Yeah.
own hours. And great. Well, I mean, that's what we're really doing here. And we talk about the laptop lifestyle, which is a little bit cliche,
I think
but
you said you had your flip-flops on because you're in Florida. I'm in Boulder. It's still a little, it's getting started, though. Spring is coming. But yeah, everyone usually is in workout gear or on their bikes or something here in Boulder.
nice. Well,
Yeah.
I need to get out there again soon. We talked about that. I'm gonna try to come out that way. It's been too long, and good to see you. Well, tell you what, so we covered those are 2 points. One question for you: if somebody was getting into this, do you have any sourcing advice? And so we have a client that has a great idea, and it's a matter of how do they find the material for this particular. Let's just say it's a fruit that has to be
Yeah.
dried and sourced from another country. Is there, what are the hurdles that you've come across in finding good quality products and either bringing them into this country or finding a place here in the U.S. that'll just do all that for you?
Well, one of my secrets is pretty well known in the industry, which is the events that I go to are Supply Side West and what is now called Ingredient Marketplace, being held in Orlando, Florida. So I'm actually jumping on a plane tomorrow to fly to Orlando because the next show, the Ingredient Marketplace show, is in Orlando on the 7th, and it is there where you have ingredient suppliers, whether they're labs from around the world that are sourcing ingredients and coming up with their own extracts and selling them, making them available directly at a show like this, or distributors of those ingredients. And a lot of times these companies like to go through a distributor because they represent a number of ingredients, and a lot of contract manufacturers like to go through a distributor. So these distributors like to find ingredients that are unique, that have human clinical studies. That's what I look for, that support any kind of claims that we want to make about them. And it just makes it easier to do business with in general. But you can go to these shows, You can, sort of have a checklist of, hey, I'm looking for some ingredients as it relates to joint pain, joint health, um, cholesterol, heart health, digestive health, and then they'll have apps that you'll carry on your iPhone or something of where you might check out some of the vendors in these booths, including the distributors. Have a conversation. They'll mention a couple or two novel ingredients that are have a lot of either are already successful in the marketplace, and there's companies that have launched products based on these ingredients, or are up and comers. And we like to look at both.
Yeah, well, and of course, I'm sure you'll agree that the two people you mentioned before, the marketplace is big enough, and
Mhm.
Dan Kennedy has said on many occasions that the marketing of the business is the business. So two people could have very similar products and still be successful with that. Wouldn't you
You
agree?
mentioned that, and that's absolutely true, Brett. That's a very prescient thing to say. Is that having just the fact that there's more than one player, let's say in joint health as an example, there are different ways to approach that
Hi,
market. There
Dr.
could be you
Stevie.
could be looking at a younger demographic that maybe is more sports oriented, right? And they're trying to address and allow themselves to be more active in that context. You can have another demographic, which is the older, maybe older baby boomers, or even people beyond being baby boomers, like my parents, for example. My dad needs to regenerate some of the cartilage in his knees, and you would speak to those markets differently, right? So there's not only a way to change the kind of product that you launch to that market, but also how you address it. And even though you're taking a slice of these various markets, each slice, because we're talking an industry that's tens of billions in scale, is still a very healthy size business. Say, Brett, did I lose you?
Sorry about that. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, no problem.
I have one of these high-tech cordless headsets that apparently is too high-tech for me.
Did it just just die on you?
Well, yeah, I had put the
Yeah.
speaker up to mute it temporarily and didn't unmute. But anyway, I was saying, how long are you going to be in Orlando? We're actually doing our own event here this weekend.
Oh, so a couple of days at the show. The main floor is open on the 8th and the 9th, so I'll be coming back on the 9th.
Yeah, I'll just miss you. We'll be heading up. Well, let's see. Yeah, I'll miss you then. Well,
Okay.
too bad. Does the show continue past that, or because maybe I'd like to
No,
see
that's
that.
yeah, that's the last day.
Okay.
So it runs 7, 8, 9. I think there's some things going on the 7th
Okay.
that I'm going to miss. But I love the show is like 150 bucks. You go there, you can walk the floor. If you go to the one Supply Side West, it's like being a kid in a candy store. It's massive. Think, consumer electronics show type of thing.
And I caught one of those, Ingredient Marketplace, and what was the other one? Supply Side West.
Supply Side West. Yeah, it's both basically put on by the same outfit.
Okay.
And Supply Side West is in Vegas. Much larger version of that, but definitely Ingredient Marketplace is worth checking out.
Okay. Well,
hmm
any specific advice to somebody starting out with supplements? And I know you do a whole 3-day event or 2-day event coming up, and I do want to hear more about that. But just at a high
Yeah.
level, what would be your best advice for somebody wanting to get into supplements? Maybe they have a good idea and just starting out though, and going from there. And again, starting with one product, not 10,
hmm
but doing one and
Yes.
figuring it out. The next steps.
Focus is the key. I think first and foremost is sort of where are you coming from? And I would urge you. Everyone says, hey, you should focus on your passions and those kinds of things in the business, which I tend to agree with. At the same time, make sure you're coming from a place of not of I want to make as much money as possible in the shortest time possible, but you're coming from the standpoint of how can I build a company that helps a large number of people and does a great service, right, to the community. Because if you come from that place, that's going to shine through your business, through your messaging, your marketing, and it's one of the things that really has served us well served me well over the last 10 years, and really served us at Real Dose Nutrition was an attitude of service, both in terms of the quality of the products, because too many people get into this business thinking, hey, how can I make the cheapest product possible and make as much money as possible? And sometimes those things are working against each other. It's better to come in and say, how can I make a product that works, that people are going to rave about? Yes, I might have to spend a little bit more money on it, And that's usually the case when you're dealing with high quality ingredients that you'll see at a show like Ingredient Marketplace that are backed by human clinical studies. So you definitely don't want to go on the cheap when you get your product manufactured. And you know, the other thing is support it and treat people like you would your mother or your sister. You know, I'm being a male, I kind of look at it that way. Is sort of, you know, everything has to pass my mom test. If if I don't want my mom ingesting this, if I don't want my mom being subjected to a business practice, I'm not going to do it. So it's one of the reasons why we don't do, you know, those weird things like forced continuity, make it hard for you to return the product or cancel a subscription or, you know, any of that nonsense. And those are things I would highly, highly recommend that you stay away from, that you build what I call an ethical, responsible health business.
Yeah, no, and in the long run, it never works to do that. All the companies that have done that in the past have blown up and gone away. And I know
Yep.
recently I was talking to somebody in the merchant account world, and you may know about this, but there's a big shakeup right now with all of the Guarana products because Dr. Oz made some comments,
Huh.
and
Okay.
I don't know if you knew this, but there's a lot of heat in the merchant account world because Dr. Oz and maybe Oprah had too, but they had talked about Guarana, and of course that blew up as a hot supplement. Some of his clients were making $1 million a month on these supplements, but making them stay on, not refunding well. And what happened is the customers then complained to Dr. Oz. He actually showed up with a film crew at one of these supplement companies and walked in and did an expose. And of course, everybody finger pointed the other direction and pointed toward the merchants. So it's now going to get 10 times harder to get merchant accounts for supplements.
Yeah.
So, you know, thanks
Well,
to
Brett, not the ones that are doing it right. And I think that yes, you are considered a high risk business in the merchant account space, as I would imagine with certain financial products well, or business opportunity products. But when you have a discussion like we run, one of our secrets is we've been running on the same PayPal account since inception. PayPal Payflow Pro, which is their high-end merchant service. Usually PayPal accounts, people think, oh, I'm going to get shut down immediately. We have a dedicated account rep. We have a dedicated account rep at Amazon because we accept Amazon payments. That's a testimony to how we run our business. I think the guys that do it, like what you're describing, are using merchant accounts where they're rotating merchant accounts or rotating what they call rotating mids, which is rotating merchant IDs, and trying to spread this bad business across a lot of merchant accounts. So if one gets shut down, the other one keeps running. Anytime you think of in that mode, you're doing it wrong.
right.
And I think that's what you're describing. Some of these folks are caught in that trap.
Yeah, and I mean not to belabor the point, but there was a very famous, well, infamous case of a guy who was in the male enhancement market, and they were running 3-page ads, and you know, Maxim magazine. They were on Howard Stern, but they weren't processing refunds, and they had
Oh no.
basically built $100 million business that the government took it all away.
House
And
of cards.
you,
Yeah.
you so absolutely have to do it the right way. And I was just on your site clicking around, and incidentally, you have a new customer. I just ordered something while I was on your site.
Oh, thank you.
But
Our omega, I take my omega-3s, my protein powder every day, and yeah, we have the best omega-3 product, by the way. Natural triglyceride form, supercritical extracted, meaning it's the cleanest, purest fish oil you can get, and it's at a dosage that really works. Most people underdose their omega-3s substantially, so you know, you take a couple pills and you're not getting the benefit that you expect.
Good to know. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, and I was looking at some of the ingredients on one of the other pages, and it's certainly not your average or normal ingredients. You guys are obviously doing things differently, so that's
Well, and it's funny you ask that, but you know, I'm not a health practitioner. Okay, I'm not a medical doctor. I came from the software world, you know, technology, and but I was able to find the people, the formulators, and the contract manufacturers that know this stuff, and was able to, you know, be like Columbo. Again, I'm dating myself here, but be like Columbo, the detective on TV, and ask these questions and find out, okay, what's important in a formula, who can assist me with formulation, and that's a lot of the things that, you know, a lot of people are asking me is, well, gee, do I have to have a credential? Well, the short answer is no. In fact, I launched and ran a multiple seven-figure business without having any credentials, and then later, you know, about 4 or 5 years in, partnered with a medical doctor, And since then we've been working together.
Very nice. Well, and that's a great point. We talk about that too, and that there's no lady of the lake that will come out of the lake and take the sword and anoint you as an expert, like in the King Arthur days.
Right?
If you're an expert, if you know more than the next guy, you're an expert to them. So just get out
Yes.
there and do it. Well, hey, I know we're both busy, and so I wanted to give you a minute, or I wanted to hear about your event actually
Okay.
that's coming up. What was it called? Because a couple of our people may want to go to that.
Well, by popular demand, a lot of people have been asking me, "Hey, Buck, how do I know you've done some coaching on this in the past, and I have, and it had been, wow, it had been 6 years since I had done any kind of education on how to launch a health business, and my partners and my partner, Dr. Steve, runs Real Dose day to day, and it gave me some extra time, so I said, you know what, I think that there is something that we can do to help people that really want to launch health companies the right way, do it, be an ethical health marketer, and learn what we learned in launching and running Real Dose. And in doing that, I think we're going to attract very high quality people. We're going to attract great JV partners because we don't manufacture. There's a lot of products that we sell on the back end that we don't make ourselves, right?
Hmm.
So I said, there's a couple reasons why we would do this. So I launched Health Profits Academy, sort of a soft launch back in Q4 of last year, and I was just really taken aback by the response to it. We got nice group of people into the first. It was a 6-week training program that was capped off with a live event that I had here in Boulder in January. We had 150 people at the live event. We had speakers like Brian Kurtz of Boardroom, Jenny Thompson, CEO of New Market Health, which is a big division of Agora. Um, Michael Fishman, who I mentioned before, he runs the Consumer Health Summit, and many, many others came and spoke. So basically, again, because everyone's been asking, that program's been closed now. People have been asking me, hey, when are you going to open up Health Profits again? And so I decided that I'm going to relaunch Health Profits Academy in May. Actually, the training will kick off in June, but we'll make the program available in May. And for a limited number of people that get on board, a first come, first serve, they will also be able to attend the Health Profits Summit event that I'm holding in Q4 of this year, in fall of this year.
Great. And I was so glad to hear that because I had no idea you were doing that and had thought to myself, I wonder why nobody or if anybody is teaching this. Is it healthprofitsacademy.com?
Yes. So healthprofitsacademy.com, you'd find a waiting list email spot to get in there.
Right.
And then, like I said, it's going to be a 6-week live coaching with me where I'm going to walk through everything, soup to nuts, how we launched, formed the company, formulated, got the product manufactured, got the marketing systems in place, set up the customer care, then optimized and scaled it to an 8-figure business in less than 18 months. So nothing's being held back. All the details are being provided. All of my partners, all of my suppliers, the process that we go through to formulate the products, all of that's being revealed in the course. And I think what's going to come out of this, what is now coming out of it with the first wave of students as well, is that we're going to have, yeah, we may have a few competitors, but a lot of them are taking very different approaches than us in going after the market. I think we're going to have a large number of people that we can promote on the back end to our high quality products that we feel good about,
Mm-hmm.
that are following our process. And surprisingly, both of my partners are speaking at the Health Profit Summit in the fall. So you'll see Dr. Steve and my other partner, Michael Lovich, speak at the event as well.
Oh, I didn't know. Maybe I did know, but you and Lovich I thought he did something else. He was like, well, he does a lot of things, doesn't he?
Well, primarily we both are involved with as directors and contributors to Real Dose, and then we have some other things going on.
Beautiful. Yeah, he's a
Yeah.
smart guy as well. Well, good. Well, okay. We may see you there. I think, I like the idea of the supplement business, and we've got some really interesting angles on this on our end, and won't go into too much detail, but we have an ophthalmologist that has some ideas for
Oh,
helping
wow.
people with their eyesight and vision,
Okay.
and preventing blindness, even in some cases. You can't say that, of course, but. I know there is a longevity supplement out of some of these areas that I don't want to give away too much, but that are known to have people that live longer, and so it's got a great backstory around that one. So really sort of niche markets that I think that could do well. And another one is in possibly the dental hygiene
Oh
area.
wow. Okay.
So
Yeah, my partner's wife is a dentist, and it's amazing. People from all stripes are in the program. We've got medical doctors, we've got nutritionists, we've got fitness professionals that are fitness coaches or personal trainers. We've got former executives or people that are still executives at companies like I was, but before I got into this space. Just a really across the board, really interesting, eclectic group of people, but all passionate about launching high quality, doing this right, using the ethical health marketer approach to building this business. And I think they all have equal opportunity to be very successful. You do not need to be a doctor to be successful in this business.
okay, that's good to know. As far as time commitment, I know this will be a question, and again, we'll kind of wrap this up. But is this
Yeah.
something that has to be a full-time job, or can somebody outsource quite a bit of this, and once you get it up and going?
Yeah, I was able to get, that's a great question. I was able to get this up and running while I was working a full-time job. Would I recommend that to everybody? It means you're setting up two things. You have a commitment to launching the business, which it can be done after hours. And because of the virtual nature of it, you can also hire resources at very low cost overseas. Those are some things that I didn't have access to even 10 years ago that are now commonplace.
Right.
So you can hire customer support people and people to run media and do programming and design work for you for literally a fraction of what it costs, pennies on the dollar of what it costs to do it here in North America. You can hire people, for example, in the Philippines, and that's what we do. So yes, the short answer is you can still be working your day job, and we have many students that are doing that while they're building their supplement business.
Great. Yeah, we cover that in our 2-day internet marketing seminars, Shark Style Business, Click and Grow Rich. It's part of the.
Hmm.
We have a formula that we came up with called MP5MS squared, and it just stands for the process of going through. The first is choose the right market, and then look for the right people. How do you find them? The places, can you find them where they are going to be at aggregating, and then pay their product. That's people make the mistake of coming up with the product before looking at the right market sometimes, and it's
Right.
just backwards. So then all the way at the end of the formula is selling and staffing. And staffing, we found the best was a hybrid between virtuals and one in-office person managing them.
And we have the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
that's true too. When we say in office, though, it's a virtual office.
Right.
So yeah, they work from home as well.
You don't.
So we have managers
Uh-huh.
in the U.S. that help manage resources overseas.
You don't have somebody in the corner there in your home office there banging away on the
No,
computer.
I tried that. That was funny. I tried that with one of my guys when I lived in Virginia,
Uh-huh.
and I was like, we did it for a little bit, and then we decided, hey, why don't you just go work from home? I don't want you in my house.
Right. Sure.
I want to be able to leave, go up, use the bathroom, eat, have a piece of fruit, go for a walk, and not have to worry
Totally
that I'm
understand.
abandoning you. Yeah.
Yeah, I've done it too. All right, my friend. Well, just I've known you long enough that I know you're one of the ones out there doing the biggest numbers in this industry, and it's not common to find somebody to be so giving with the knowledge. And so I really want to thank you for your time and and certainly for sharing the event. If people wanted more information about that, maybe we'll put a link in here.
Yeah.
We're not sure where here is going to be yet, so we may just be sending it out to everybody. But
Right.
that was
Yeah, I think it'd be worthwhile for you to even just check it out on the link with this interview, because I'm gonna offer educational information that if you're just curious, you're just wondering what this is about and whether or not it's for you, go into a lot of detail, share a lot of information that I just for example, we covered several of my secrets. Seriously, in terms of where I go and how I source ingredients. Also in the training, we go through, as you mentioned, knowing what market you want to go after and why, right? And so go through market and product selection and formulation and all those things so that by the time you get there and are ready to launch and market a product, you've already covered 80% of the hard stuff. It's much easier to be successful from that point on.
definitely, yeah. Great. Well,
Yeah.
I know you have a fire to put out. I have just one last quick question. What is your
Yes,
favorite
sir.
song to play on that guitar back in the corner?
Hotel California is definitely on my list. But yeah, I was just listening to some 60s, 70s, and 80s music on my Spotify account. I was thinking, oh man, I want to play all these songs.
I've had this a goal to learn how to play the Star Spangled Banner by Jimi Hendrix on the electric guitar
Oh,
one of these days. But
let me know when you figure it out.
I will. I will. Well, fortunately, your upsell technology allowed me to add that Omega to my order, so I'm a supplement junkie myself, so I'll be enjoying
Excellent.
those soon. So,
Sounds
well,
good.
thanks, my friend. Take care, and hopefully I can see you in Boulder when I get out that way.
Thanks, Brett, and I'm really honored to be on this interview. I appreciate it.
Likewise. All right. Thanks.
Take care.
Bye.